Hey all, my name is Paul Borosky and I am the owner of Quality Business Plan, and what I'd like to do today is introduce y'all to my tips and tricks on how to write a trucking business plan. So this trucking business plan, little video PowerPoint presentation, is going to cover, it's going to be good for organizations or individuals that are looking to do overall road trucking, but also for local deliveries as well. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get through this fun and exciting little PowerPoint presentation. So first and foremost, a little bit about me. I'm a professional writer. I write business plans, and I do a lot of ghost writing. So I do a lot of writing. So writing is one of my passions, is pretty much what I love to do. So if y'all want to go ahead and avoid the fun and the excitement of writing your own trucking business plan, just give me a shout. I'd love to do it for you. However, if you do want to go through the rigors of writing your own business plan, go ahead and check out me on Amazon. I have published several books on how to write a business plan. So all you got to do is just zip over to Amazon, Google my name, Paul Borosky, put an MBA behind it, and you'll see all the wonderful books that I've published on writing business plans, and they are there to help you out. Also, a little bit of experience for me. I am an adjunct professor and subject matter expert in business and finance. So if you need a little bit of help with financial projections, again, pick up the phone, give me a buzz. Love to assist. All right, enough of the infomercial. Let's go ahead and start talking turkey about doing a trucking business plan. So tip number one, excuse me. Tip number one is company description. Truckers do a phenomenal job usually with describing in very short detail exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. One of the things that truckers do miss out on sometimes is talking about in their company summary whether they're going to have a partner or if they're going to be doing this solo. It's not so important if you're going to be local deliveries. Even then, because if you have a partner with local deliveries, then you're going to be able to handle heavier freight in some cases. So make sure you talk about, are you going to have a partner or you could be doing this solo? And the partner could be your brother, it could be a sister, it could be your wife, could be your husband, it could be somebody you met in trucking class. But just make sure you expand upon that. Are you going to have a partner or not? And include that information in your company summary. Next is going to be location, and location. Strategic planning is critical for the trucking industry. And if you're going to be an over-the-road trucker and you're going to be located in Miami, you're going to be getting some people that's going to be wondering what the heck's going on because it's not central to the U.S. However, if you're going to have a trucking company in Miami and you're going to be doing local and regional deliveries, then it's going to make a little bit more sense. So, if you're going to be an over-the-road trucker and you're going to be in Miami, at least address why that's going to happen and how you're going to mitigate, excuse me, how you're going to mitigate the strategic disadvantages of that location. And finally, in your competitive advantages sections, in the trucking industry, make sure to discuss whether you're going to be offering multiple services or are you going to be a specialist. Some truckers that I've worked with, they're specialists. They'll do flatbed hauling or they'll do hazardous material hauling. So they're going to be a specialist. So identify that you're a specialist as a competitive advantage and then explain why you have chosen that industry. Do you have contacts that ensure that you're going to have a consistent flow of trucking business from this specialist perspective? If you could be multiple services, fantastic, that's fine too. Discuss that you've got multiple certifications, that you've got a wide range of network opportunities that's going to be providing you with different types of hauling opportunities, and so on and so forth. So in the competitive advantages, make sure to touch on whether you're going to be a specialist or where you're going to be offering multiple services and tell why. It's so critical to tell why. Don't just say, I'm going to do this. Tell why you're going to do this. That is going to add depth to your business plan. It's also going to show that you've got some strategy behind some of your decisions. Next, tip number 2 is going to be industry research. When you do an industry research, make sure to go to reliable sources. Some of the sources that I have found that are reliable is going to be the American Trucker Magazine and the International Trucking Association. Now, a lot of truckers, they wonder why the heck do they need to do industry research? Well, when you do industry research, you're going to be able to identify trends in the industry. For example, Tesla right now, they're doing a lot of studies and they're doing a lot of research into electric trucks that are going to be, battery based. These are up and coming trends in the industry that if you know about them now, you're able to take strategic action. So when they become widespread, you're going to be able to embrace that trend and be prepared for it, and you're going to be ahead of the competitors. Also, when you're doing your industry research, you're going to be able to understand whether the industry is growing, whether it's shrinking, and just get a just an overall better understanding of the industry as a whole instead of the nuts and bolts day-to-day operation. Excuse me. So, for example, the trucking statistics. The trucking industry is a $700 billion industry. It's a huge industry, and it moves approximately 70% of all freight in the U.S. Excuse me. So that indicates right there that there is a substantial need for truckers, and this need is not going away anytime soon unless there is a better way to go ahead and start moving freight, which, if there was, entrepreneurs would be coming up with it. Also, there's 3.5 million truckers in the U.S. That is a whole bunch of truckers, and it's not just over-the-road truckers. We're doing deliveries right now. You've got local deliveries. You've got regional deliveries. You've got Amazon that's looking for deliveries to take it from their operating warehouses, to the final step. And they're relying on the U.S. Postal Service right now. And a lot of us already know the U.S. Postal Service, a lot of changes are going on there, and they're not very good changes, which is going to increase and drive the need for local deliveries. Also, when you're doing your industry research, go out and talk to a trucker today. As crazy as it sounds, go over to a rest stop and, if you see a trucker, go ahead and have a conversation with them. Get their thoughts and ideas about what's going on in the industry, how they feel about the industry, what could be better. It's a little bit, of a different thought, but if you get some experience and talk to people that are in the industry, you're then going to have the local perspective as well. And finally, do a little bit of competitor research online. Take a look at some of these national trucking companies. Are they hiring? Are they not hiring? What do their websites look like? What are their needs? And the way they identify their needs, for example, if you've got a trucking company that they've got posted all over the place that they're looking for drivers, well, that tells you there's a huge need for drivers. So make sure you do your research for the competition as well. And then we got a tip number 3, advertising. Yes, as a trucker, you do need to advertise. A lot of truckers, they do go through brokers, or they buy a rig and then they'll sign up with another national organization, and they'll be an owner-operator. However, there is other methods to go ahead and start getting business. If you set up a social media advertising, if you set up a website, then what you're going to be able to do is you're going to start building brand recognition for your organization. And once you start building brand recognition and you start establishing a reputation for your trucking company, then you're going to be able to go to these wholesalers, these manufacturers, or whoever else is actually in need of moving freight or in need of local deliveries. You can go to them directly, and you can go ahead and say, hey, look, give me your business, start making some cold calls. But when you make these cold calls, they're going to want more information, and boom, you've got your website. Boom, you've got your social media accounts they can look at. Also, start talking to truckers. How are they getting their business? Word of mouth. When you start talking to other truckers and saying, hey, look, if you find that you've got somebody that you're working with that needs an additional trucker, have them give me a call. So make sure you're exploiting the advertising opportunities as a trucker as well. Yes, you might rely on this organization right now in the day-to-day to give you business, but it doesn't mean that's going to be the case in 6 months from now or a year from now. Brand recognition takes time. Start building that brand recognition now. All right, step number 4, funding. Little bit of money. Any business that's ever been started that will ever be started, it needs some kind of funding, whether it's going to be you coming out of your pocket with the money, or going to a bank, or going to brother and sister and saying, hey, look, I need a little bit of a loan. But before you get that funding, there's a couple things you need to consider. First and foremost is, how much do you need? Don't just say, I need about $50,000 to $70,000. Well, which one is it? Is it 50 or is it 70? And why is there a $20,000 discrepancy here? So don't set yourself up with that. Set some budgets. I need this budget right here for my truck. I need this budget right here for a laptop and internet connection. So have a budget, a top line, and then add that budget together and come up with a specific dollar amount when you're doing your funding request. Have a specific dollar amount in mind that you need in order to achieve your startup or your expansion goals. Then once you have that dollar amount in mind, go ahead and do some budgets and explain in your business plan what that money is going to buy. Is it going to buy equipment? Are you going to be getting office space and you're going to have a bunch of truckers working for you? How much money do you need for operations? Here's a term for you: working capital. That is the money left over after you start your business that is set aside for operations until you start getting some revenue coming in. So make sure you have some money set aside for that. Understand how much working capital you're going to need. And then advertising. Most of the truckers that I've worked with, they've got a broker, they've got a specific way that they already know of that they're going to be getting business. But again, you've got to build brand recognition. Yes, you are a trucker, but you are not going to be working for this organization or that organization for very much longer, because you're going to be going out and you're going to be getting your own business, and you need to start advertising now and building that brand recognition now. So when you start making cold calls, people have actually heard about you. Finally, when you get a loan, or usually when you get a loan, or if you're going to take on a partner, they're going to want to know how this money is going to be repaid. Most of the time, it's going to be from cash flows, from profits of the organization. But that's not necessarily the case all the time. Some people are going to keep a day job and they're only going to drive on weekends. Some people, they're going to be borrowing money from mom and pop to go ahead and make up the cash flow that the trucking business is not supplying. So regardless if it's going to be cash flow or somewhere else, make sure to identify when you're writing your funding request specifically how the money is going to be repaid. And then finally, tip number 5, financial projections. Oh, the wonderful financial projections. There's a lot of financial models out there that you can go ahead and purchase. Unfortunately, though, a lot of the financial models, they're more geared towards the service industry where, as a business consultant, and if they do 5 jobs, they're going to make, $100 an hour. Or it's a retail store where they're going to sell, 50 hair ties and they're going to, charge, a $5 for each tie, and so on and so forth. The trucking industry is a little bit of a different animal out there. So the items sold for the trucking industry is going to actually be miles driven. And so, if you've got an over-the-road haul and it's going to be, 2,000 miles, well, it's going to be, it's not going to be the 2,000 miles because, in my opinion, what I like to do is I like to break it down into daily. So if you're going to drive 500 miles, then the item sold is going to be 500 miles on a daily basis. Your cost of materials, it's going to be, again, a little bit different. It's going to be an average of what your maintenance cost is on a daily basis, but also it's going to be per mile. How much how much is the gas per mile for your rig, and then go ahead and use that as a variable cost. Next is going to be assumptions and growth rates. When you're doing your assumptions after your first month of profit and loss, gas prices may go up or they may go down. So you have to have some growth rates in there for your variable costs to go ahead and allocate that information for it. Next, decide if you're going to do your financial projections daily or weekly. If you want to start with your daily projections, fantastic. However, there are some businesses, there are some truckers out there that they want to say, I drive about 2,500 miles a week, and they want to go ahead and do the weekly projections based on that. So make sure you decide which foundation that you want to start with, whether it's daily sales or do you want to do with weekly sales. And then also annual projections. Where are you going to be in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? Are you just going to be an over-the-road trucker and that's all you want to do, and that's your passion and your love, and that's fantastic. However, there are some truckers out there, they want to get in there, they want to get the experience, and then they want to start hiring drivers, and they want to start accumulating rigs and then hiring more drivers. Or from a local perspective, they want to go ahead and start buying more vans and hiring more drivers. So make sure you have some understanding of where you want to be, and make sure your financial projections are designed accordingly. Now, here's a little bit of an example of how I do. This is a very, very brief profit and loss statement that you're able to go ahead and compile in an Excel sheet. And it's going to give you a good idea what your net profits are going to be at the end of the month. So the way that I would structure this is if you got your trucking revenues, and you're going to identify what's your price per mile. So how much are you going to charge, or what do you expect to be paid per mile? Then you want to go ahead and identify what your variable costs are. How many miles does your truck get per gallon, and then figure out what the gas prices are, and then go ahead and do some kind of calculation of what your mile per gallon for gasoline is, and then do the same thing for maintenance. If you spend $1,500 in maintenance, then divide that maintenance over however many days you're going to be working for that month, and then how many miles. So go ahead and do some kind of a calculation for your variable cost. Once you have your variable cost, then you just simply subtract your variable cost from your price per mile. So in this particular situation, we've got a gross profit of 90 cents per mile. Then what we want to do is we want to, for a number of items, it's going to be your miles driven on a daily basis for this example. So you can take that $500 and you're going to multiply it by your gross profits, which is going to give us $450 a day. Next thing we need to identify is what are our monthly fixed costs. It might be a loan payment. It could be office equipment. And as most truckers know, office equipment is going to be your laptop. It's going to be your cell phone, and so on. Some truckers, they like to spend some time in a hotel. So make sure you put that cost in there. If you're going to have an office, you're going to have a bunch of truckers working for you. Then you're going to have utilities. Marketing, can't stress it enough. Even if you're an owner-operator and you're getting your business from brokers, you can eventually eliminate those brokers and go right to the source. But you've got to have your marketing, your brand recognition already established. So invest in that, in my most humble of opinions. Accounting, legal, insurance, you're going to have that. And then your catch-all. You've got to have a catch-all, in my opinion. Again, you never know what the costs are going to be that's going to arise. So make sure you have some kind of a budget for that. Once you have your monthly fixed costs, add them all up and then total them up at the bottom. Once you have this foundation here of your daily revenues and your monthly costs, next thing is going to be is to identify how many days in the month you're going to work. For this example, it's 20 days. So what you're going to then do is you're going to multiply that 20 by your daily gross profit, which is a $450, and you're going to put it right here, your monthly revenues, $9,000. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your monthly costs, which are right here, you're going to plug it down right here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to subtract your monthly costs from your monthly revenues, and it's going to give you your net profits for the month. Now, this little structure is not only tells you what your net profits are going to be, but once you have this structure set up, you can change your prices per mile. You can change your variable costs. You can change the number of days you're going to work. You can change your monthly fixed cost. And when you do that, you're going to see how that's going to impact your net profits once you get the structure set up. Phenomenal tool to use as a trucker. All right, so hopefully this information was beneficial for y'all, and y'all got some good, helpful tips and tricks on how to write a trucking business plan. And if y'all need some more information or like some more information on how to write a trucking business plan, just mosey on over to my website, which is qualitybusinessplan.com, how to write a trucking business plan. And once you get to there, you'll be able to get some good insights on some more information on how to write a trucking business plan. And in summary here, a couple things. First and foremost is when you're writing your trucking business plan, follow a proven format. Go to the SBA website and get an outline from them. Go to my website and check out some of my trucking business plan templates. But make sure to follow some kind of a proven format, because if you try to use just a general business plan template, you're going to have so much information in there, because general templates, they try to touch on everything from manufacturing to service industries to who knows what. So you do want to use some kind of a proven template or format to follow. So again, check out the SBA, go to my website. We've got some great templates there. Next is keep the star of the show as a trucking company. Yes, you might have 20 years experience as trucking. Yes, you might have 50,000 different certifications. That's all fine and dandy, but the business plan is about the business. Make sure to talk about the business business, and make sure the star of the show is the business. And also, I can't stress enough: location, location, location. I do have a real estate. I do have a background in real estate, so it's always been drilled into my head. Location is important. But from a business and a financial perspective, I do see the importance of location, and it does translate into the trucking industry. Location, location, location. If you're going to be a regional driver, make sure to explore and explain the advantages you can find in your location. If you could be an over-the-road trucker, again, explain how your location is going to be beneficial. Finally, contact me for help. So if you're trying to write your business plan, you can't do it, or you need a section here or a section there, or the whole thing completed, don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, give me a call, send me an email. I would absolutely be delighted to assist in helping you write a trucking company business plan. All right, so with that, hopefully this video was helpful and informative, and if it was, give me a thumbs up and a like on YouTube. And if y'all, like I said, if you need some help writing a plan, don't be a stranger, give me a shout. Thank you.